In the world of marketing and advertising, it's dog eat dog. It's the survival of the fittest. It's a war for our attention and winning as many eyeballs as possible. Giant fonts, flashing lights, moving signs. Advertisers, designers and marketeers will do anything they can to get an advantage over their competitors. So, in such a saturated market with everything fighting for your attention, how do you stand out and make sure you get noticed? You turn to science and technology, and the buzziest of buzzwords, the algorithm. The entire marketing and advertising industry is built on getting someone's attention. Designers throughout history have worked extremely hard to get a potential customer's attention. However, all of their work was based on trial and error or guessing what would attract a person's eye. Basically, the rule was make everything as big, bright and bold as possible. 3M, one of the most interesting companies in the world and one I am a big fan of due to their philosophy of science applied to life and constant desire to design new and innovative products. Currently, 3M offer over 55,000 different products and services. I guarantee you have at least 10 of their products in your home that you didn't even know were made by 3M. They even designed the boots that Neil Armstrong wore when he walked on the moon. And one of 3M's biggest regrets is not sticking a logo on the bottom of these boots, as what a piece of advertising that would have been. Within these 55,000 products and services is one that identified this want for a new weapon in attention grabbing. 3M have developed an algorithm that they claim has a 92% chance of getting a potential customer's attention. They call it VAS, and that stands for Visual Attention Software. To create the system, they worked closely with the world's top vision experts and fundamentally broke down how human vision works. Have a look at this picture. What did you see? Before you are aware of what you were looking at, our brains have identified 5 different visual elements: edges, intensity, red-green contrast, blue-yellow contrast, and faces. These act as triggers and tell our brain of possible areas of interest we may want to pay more attention to. It does this first, as rendering our entire field of view in high definition is far too much information for our brains to process instantaneously. So, the brain only renders the absolute center of our field of view in high definition, about this much. And even just rendering this small section takes up to half of our cerebral cortex. To demonstrate how narrow our field of view is, have a look at this dot. A few words will appear on the right, but keep staring at the dot and don't look at the words. As the words move closer to the dot, see how close they have to get before you can read them. As you can see, the words had to almost be on top of the dot before you could read them, and this perfectly demonstrates the problem with advertising. You must draw someone's view onto the exact place you want it to be. So how do you do that? Human vision happens in 2 very separate phases. The first 3 to 5 seconds of glancing at a scene is called pre-attentive processing. This happens before we are aware of what we are looking at. It's universal in all humans across gender, age and culture, even those that read left to right or right to left. The second phase is called post-attentive processing, and this happens after we are aware and is influenced by our gender, age and culture. The software that 3M have created predicts the pre-attentive processing phase of where, when looking at something, the eye will be drawn to first. It does this by analysing those 5 visual cues: colours, edges, faces, shapes and contrast, and putting the content through a series of algorithms to determine what elements of the content will attract our attention. And this is what the process looks like. When you run a design through the software, it gives you a visual output of what the algorithms predict will catch your eye. This can be viewed as a heat map or a percentage prediction of what chance areas of interest have at catching your eye. It also predicts in what order you may look at different areas of a particular design. As the designer, you can then see how you need to tweak the design to make sure it stands out as much as possible. Now, let's do a test. I'm going to display a few different images that also show the different environments or design disciplines that the software can be utilized in. I will then follow the same image with the results showing how the algorithm predicted where you would look, and you see if the algorithm did indeed predict what you looked at first. Here's image 1. And the software prediction. Image 2. And the prediction. And finally, image 3. and the prediction. Did it work? If it did, great. We are using pioneering science and technology to guarantee within 92% accuracy more people look at our piece of marketing over our competitors. Well done, crack open the champagne. And if it didn't predict what you looked at first, then frankly, I don't really care. I'll put you down to the 8% chance it wouldn't work. Because along with the results that will hopefully mean a better and more impactful piece of work, it also gives the user and the end client much more. It removes subjectivity from the design process and takes away a level of accountability. When I go to a client with a design, they can no longer give the dreaded subjective feedback. Make this bigger, change this color, move that over there, as the designer has empirical evidence showing why this is there, why this is this big, why this is this color. The client also in turn, when talking to their superiors, can say the same thing. It helps them to manage upwards. This saves masses of time, stress, and most importantly for our client, money. As you no longer need endless revisions, the decision on what the final design iteration should be has been made for you. It also gives accountability. If the piece of marketing isn't performing as expected, you can follow the paper trail back to the source and blame the algorithm. It could not possibly be my fault. The computer said it would work. Again, taking away one of the biggest causes of stress. When things go wrong and management spin the big wheel of blame, and it's stopping at your feet. And being a designer, this tends to happen a lot, whether it's your fault or not. It's also really useful when selling advertising space to potential sponsors, proving they indeed do have the most prominent and therefore most expensive spot for their logo to go. And it's great when trying to secure new business or win a pitch. It's the perfect tool to get you across the line with a new client. So it seems perfect. Everyone's a winner. I'm saving money, stress, time, and I can't be blamed if it goes wrong. But are there any drawbacks to this? Yes, indeed there are. Once you begin using this tool, it becomes ingrained within the company and the people using it. And you end up just uploading designs to the software you know will please your machine overlord. Clients begin to ask for heat map reports rather than look at the actual piece of advertising. Anytime someone tries to apply some artistic flair or something new, it is shot down by an algorithm, as it had 2% less chance of being viewed than the previous version. You also find yourself trying to second guess what the algorithm will like rather than what is aesthetically pleasing. And there's a danger that all your advertising and marketing material begin to look exactly the same, regardless of the message it is trying to get across. It also, as a designer, removes the joy and artistic merit out of the design process. It can sap creativity out of a design team and drives good designers away from your company. So next time you're in a shop or walking down the street and a piece of advertising jumps out at you, ask yourself, why did that catch my eye? As chances are, now you know. Thanks for watching this episode of Behind Designs.